Well, I'm a hand lettering artist and I'm in San Antonio. I produce the brand Shaun Whitworth, where I create custom design products uh, like posters and t-shirts featuring my hand lettering. In high school, I was in a band, and the lead singer and bassist were a husband and wife team. They'd been writing music for a few years, and we eventually were going full time. So we're doing shows pretty regularly, and that went on for about 6 months. But it got to the point where gigs tapered off, and we weren't doing as much work. So we needed something that would supplement our income. So we ended up all starting our own individual businesses. The business I started was a computer repair business. And as much as I liked the technology industry, I'm also really creative. So fast forward 2 or 3 years, I ended up stepping down from the band, which was a bittersweet time, but I'm really thankful for what I went through with the band, and that kind of is what got me started with entrepreneurship. And I don't know if I would have started my own business had I not been in that type of a situation. So the computer business was doing really well, but I also started to pick up design. I started learning design and practicing design and eventually picking up freelance work with that. And so after about a few years, the freelance design work was getting to the point where I was having to turn down work, and I was really enjoying it a lot more than the computer stuff. So I ended up calling up a buddy who was a developer at a local firm, and I was asking if he was interested in getting into web design and starting up a firm, and he was. So a few years later, we started our web design firm, and it was definitely a challenge getting going, but it was really rewarding. It was at this point that the hand lettering was introduced, and while hand lettering was something I've always enjoyed ever since middle school, um, I would be doing my math lessons, and it wasn't like I got bad grades in math, but instead of just writing lesson 32 at the top, I spent 20-30 minutes writing lesson 32 at the top. So each time, every lesson I would just keep embellishing more and more. But all my artistic friends were illustrating or painting or doing watercolor, and I'm drawing letters. Fast forward to when I was doing the web work, I met Kyle Steed, who is a designer and illustrator from Dallas. He also does hand lettering. He came to San Antonio, and we met at a coffee shop, and he really inspired me. Like, he poured out his passion. It was just really contagious, and he encouraged me to really go after the hand lettering and pursue that. So with the web design stuff, I was doing that during the day, and then in the evenings, I was making hand lettering. I was just creating, probably on average, I spent probably 6 to 8 hours a day, 7 days a week for a couple years, outside of my day job. So just continued creating, and eventually that started to get more of a response, and people started asking for my designs on posters and t-shirts, and I didn't have anything like that at the time, but there's a lot of demand there. And so instead of just doing self-initiated projects in my spare time, I started to take on various custom lettering commissions, and just saved up the money that I made from those commissions in my spare time, since I already had my bills covered with the day job. As time went on, when I was honest with myself, I realized that if I could do anything that I wanted, it would be lettering. As much as I enjoyed my design work, I just really liked the lettering stuff. So I realized if I could do anything full-time, it would be the lettering, but I felt like I had a really good thing going with the web work and my partner, and I didn't want that to go away. So I kind of just decided to let things work themselves out in their own time, and in a matter of time, the web work kind of slowed down a little bit, and my partner ended up getting another job offer, which was perfect for him. It fit his expertise really well, and he said, I think I should take this. And I said, yeah, I think you should. And so kind of hibernated the web stuff, and that was last year. So since then I've been pursuing hand lettering full time. I've spent, a number of years being exposed to a lot of various type and lettering, either on the internet or in real life, signage, that type of thing. And while that does influence me, it's kind of like I've stored up this bank of typographic inspiration in my mind that I reference. So when I'm doing lettering, it probably about 90% of it is just from my mind. I'm not looking directly at any source material. The things that have inspired me as of late are not necessarily literal typographic things. Just pretty much anything, like getting away from the computer, getting away from the office, taking a walk, talking to someone who does something different than me, and that can kind of, give me a spark or something to go off of that I can interpret in my own way with the lettering. So when I come to my office after dropping my wife off at work, and it's early in the morning, I've got my coffee and the morning light's coming in, my paper's set, my pencils are sharpened, I've got the eraser and everything ready to go. That is not the time to think of a great quote to write. So I actually keep a list, just a category of to-do lists on my phone, where I'll write down throughout the week. Maybe I'm driving and at a stoplight, I'll just put in something if I think of it, or if I come across something, I'll write it down so I have something to go off of. Probably about half of the stuff I write on my own. The other half is maybe common sayings or various quotes. But as far as lettering process, I like to just simply write the words out. There's not like a right or wrong way to do it. I just write the words of the phrase, the quote out, and just kind of give myself a visual of what pieces I have to work with. And then I'll try out different arrangements of it. I try and identify the key verbs or action words, or like the important concepts or contrasting ideas in the quote, and I'll pull those out and kind of showcase them a little more, and dial back the thes and the ands and ors, and try and emphasize the important parts. So it's an iterative process where I just draw it rough and I just keep refining the concept until I get a composition that's really solid that I like. And then I'll go into the pencil mode where I'll draw out the grids and the guidelines and that type of thing, and eventually lay down inks on top of that. And a lot of times that's the final piece right there. I'll just take a photo of that and publish that. Primarily, diversify your sources of inspiration. It's a problem when you can view a list of lettering and see exactly who their inspiration is, because they clearly only have one inspiration. I'm really flattered that I would be someone's inspiration, but you got to look beyond just me. Try and look in real life, look at signage and various type or other letterers or classic examples, and just keep it varied, and then pull from that, not in a literal sense where you're looking on the screen and looking at your lettering, but immerse yourself in inspiration to a degree and then make something from memory. That way it'll be a little more organic, a little more real, and more you. It's important to have a solid composition behind your lettering. So a lot of people will find a style of lettering that they really like, and it tends to be something that's more stylistic or ornate because it's really showy and has a wow factor. And so they'll simply apply that style to their lettering. But the problem is it doesn't make up for a lack of a solid composition. You want to start with just the arrangement and make sure that the right words are being emphasized, and not just merely apply style to a random conglomerate of type. So don't focus on the style first. You want to focus on the composition, and then any stylistic expression you add to that is only going to enhance the composition. It's important once you get to the point where you have enough work that your work is starting to gain recognition. I do try to be really invested in the various platforms that I utilize, but I think it's important to really be able to connect on the platforms that you choose to use. Don't just sign up for every social media account that you can get. If you're going to sign up for it, be willing to talk to the people that want to reach out to you, or the people that comment, or the people that ask you questions. If you don't have time to respond to those type of things, then in my opinion you don't really have time to, you don't have you don't have a right to be doing that. Like, I think you owe that to your following. You owe that to the people who are interested in what you're doing, to give them the respect and the answers that they're seeking. I would say focus on building your portfolio. Something that I like to encourage people is to think of a number of portfolio items that you think would make an adequate portfolio, and double that number, and then you're getting close. So just keep making things. Just keep on making things. Don't worry about how many followers do I have, or is my work getting recognition. If you're doing good work, it will get recognition. It will get shared. So focus on doing good work, and the sharing will come naturally. I think we're really fortunate. At least the designers that I know, a lot of them are from Austin. My goodness, I made a list of some of my favorite lettering artists, and I think I met almost half of them at an Austin meetup. I just think that's really cool. So Texas is home to a lot of really talented designers, and I think we're really fortunate. It's a great place to live. Cost of living is excellent, and we really enjoy it here. I think we'll stay here for a while.